Hi, I'm here with Tony Giandomenico. Tony, how are you today?
Doing great, how are you?
I'm doing great. Tell me a little bit about your role, because you're with Fortinet. Tell me about your day-to-day.
So I'm a senior security strategist and researcher, and I do a lot of different things for the company, but one of them happens to be tracking the actual threat actors week over week. So there's a lot of different work products that we end up kind of putting out. We have a weekly threat intelligence brief that goes out in email. We have the quarterly threat landscape report, which we're going to be talking about today, and a variety of other products that are all related to the different types of threats that are trending over time.
And tell me a little bit about the threat report. Who is that for?
So really, it's something that we do on a quarterly basis, and it's geared towards the IT security professional, from the CISO all the way down to the operational folks. And really what we're looking for is we're looking for different types of trends in application exploits, malware, and botnets, and we're hoping if we can find out some of those trends, we can help the IT security professional figure out where they should be focusing their security effort. And I will say that we are getting alerts from billions of events that are being sort of processed in real-time production environments. So the actual data itself is pretty valuable.
And how does this information make Fortinet different? How does it make us stand out?
Oh, well, I think one of the things is we just have so many different sensors that are kind of placed all around the world, so you're getting a good view of what's happening in cyberspace globally.
Great, and in this threat report, what are the highlights that you're seeing? Can you go into some specifics for me?
Sure, yeah, so there's a bunch of different highlights. I would say one, I always say this statement, if you want to be able to identify the technology trends, look at the attack trends. And that statement applies to the fourth quarter threat landscape report. So what we saw was we had, out of the 12 exploits, or I should say the 12 top exploits, 6 of them were related to IoT. Of that, 4 of them were focused on IP cameras. So the adversary is focusing more on those physical monitoring devices.
Right.
Now, what else is happening, what's actually kind of trending in technology is the physical security devices for monitoring, IoT, OT, it's all coming together and it's merging on the network side. So if you're bringing some of those devices over on the network side that maybe have vulnerabilities, you're just amplifying that vulnerability. Because before, you'd have some type of mitigating control that would isolate or at least mitigate the actual total impact of that vulnerability, but now you bring it in and it's just amplifying. And guess what? The adversaries know that, because now that moves over, it's another attack vector for the adversaries to be able to focus on and eventually get inside your network and look for the cyber assets that they're really trying to reach.
So these IoT devices, they're kind of headless devices, if you will. How difficult is it to protect those, and what is Fortinet doing right now?
Well, the big thing here, I get that question asked a lot, and it's really about visibility. Now, if it wasn't hard enough to be able to identify all your assets on the environment, it got so much worse because we have virtualization, we have cloud, we have IoT, everything's merging together. So I think the one thing is, with Fortinet, we have the ability to have visibility from the endpoint all the way up to the actual cloud itself, right? So we have the ability to be able to identify all the different devices in your scope of your network that you're trying to actually be able to protect. And then, second stage, so that first phase is awareness, right? You have to have that visibility. Now, after that visibility is, well, what do? You got to act on it, right? And I think the beauty of it is, with our cybersecurity fabric, we have the ability to allow the technology, to be able to make some automated decisions for you, right? So we have such a skill shortage these days. Why do we need to actually have these humans interact with all this stuff when it's really hard for us to be able to respond to all the different threats? Because the cybercrime ecosystem, that volume of threats that we're receiving, anytime Dick and Harry can get into a life of cybercrime now. You don't really need to be an expert. All you gotta need to do is be able to push a button and know where to get these particular resources. So the volume is hard there. So instead of having a human be able to deal with that, let the machines start to help make some of those actual decisions, and that's what our security fabric's able to do. It was able to actually identify something, communicate that with the other technology controls, and then hopefully be able to isolate and eventually mitigate and isolate that particular issue.
And Tony, thank you so much for talking to me today.
Oh, no, it was great.